Kilifi County, renowned for its breathtaking coastline and vibrant culture. Beneath its beauty lies a silent epidemic: defilement.
Kulikuwa na kijana jirani yetu ambaye alikuwa mvuvi, ambaye alikuwa akimtongoza lakini nilimkataa. Aliinsist. Siku moja akakuja nichukua akanipeleka kwake. Alinilazimisha kulala naye lakini nilikataa.
Wakati Precious anadhulumiwa, mimi nilikuwa niko hospitali tayari, nilienda hospitali nikiwa nimeenda kujifungua.
What I must say is that while we have teen pregnancy going down, we have many other kinds and forms of violations. Sodomy being one of them, incest, we have also rape, we have IPV, intimate partner violations, and these cases are rising by the day.
The socio-cultural, economic aspects really play a very big factor in these cases. The high number is because of the setting where these children live, because most of the cases you realize that the defilements are from the immediate family members.
Vastness of the region and poverty, and also ignorance. A victim might not even know where to start. The police station might be very far, and the chief's office might be very far. They may not even have the resources. Transport fare to get there might be a problem.
In Kilifi County, where gender-based violence disproportionately affects women and girls, a relentless advocate stands tall. Alice Kinywa, a lawyer and a founder of Friends for Justice, is at the forefront of the battle for dignity and equality.
These are the active cases for 2024. And this month, being Children Awareness Month,
yes,
courts are fast-tracking all the children matters. Like as you can see, this is a sodomy file. This is incest. This is incest. This is incest. This is neglect. This is neglect.
Neglect means?
Neglect means that you're following up a case where a parent has been charged for neglecting their child in one way or another.
Oh.
Yeah. This is a case of defilement. Mostly the cases we handle are cases of incest, defilement, neglect, sexual assault, and I would say the prevalence for sexual offense cases are quite high here. And I would say this year, Friends for Justice has represented about 77 children.
Patience was only 6 when she was defiled.
Ilikuwa 2021. Ule baba akajamgeuka sasa. Akalala naye akamfanya kama mwanamke wake sasa.
Her mother Jacqueline fought tirelessly for justice. The conviction of the perpetrator brought some closure, but the scars remained.
Wakati Precious anadhulumiwa, mimi nilikuwa niko hospitali tayari, nilienda hospitali nikiwa nimeenda kujifungua. After hapo sasa kurudi nyumbani ndo nikampata yule baba, yule mtoto akiwa anaumwa. Nikimuuliza mama unaumwa na nini, anasema mama mimi naumwa na tumbo na bado nikikojoa na kojoa damu. Watu walishikwa hiyo 2022 na kuna mmoja alienda maisha na mwingine alifungwa miaka 18.
While Farida, now 14, was defiled by a fisherman and became pregnant.
Kulikuwa na kijana jirani yetu ambaye alikuwa mvuvi, ambaye alikuwa akinitongoza lakini nilimkataa. Aliinsist. Siku moja akakuja nichukua akanipeleka kwake. Alinilazimisha kulala naye lakini nilikataa. Hiyo siku nilipotoka kwake nilienda tu kulala, sikumwambia mtu yoyote. Ilipofika siku ya kwenda shule tukapimwa, kapatikana niko na mimba. Huko shule nikaambiwa nije nyumbani nipeleke kesi polisi. Ilipopelekwa polisi kapelekwa kotini. Kutoka kotini kapelekwa ndo nikapata friend for justice. Friend for justice ilinisaidia nikajifungua vizuri, lakini mtoto alifariki. Na pia bado wakaendelea kunisaidia, wakanipeleka shule. Nikiwa mkubwa natamani kuwa computer engineer.
Though her innocence was stolen, her determination to complete her education fuels her resilience.
These offenses carry stiff sentences, very stiff sentences, and with the current decision of the Court of Appeal, of the Supreme Court, that the minimum sentences under Sexual Offences Act are constitutional, which means courts have limited discretion when it comes to sentencing. People are trying all manner of ways to ensure that the matter does not get to judgment level and sentence level. So they try as much as possible to influence witnesses who refuse to come to court. When at times they may come and refuse to talk. At times they may disappear from their homes. Poverty is another issue that may be affecting these cases. At times the person being charged is the only breadwinner for the family. So the entire family gangs up for him, not to undergo criminal trial, especially for matters related to incest. Again, there is poor investigations. At times in court, ingredients are not brought out clearly. The age is not known. Penetration cannot be established. And identification of the culprit is not proper.
Despite strides in Kenya's legal framework, systemic barriers persist. Of the 1,400 cases of SGBV reported in Kilifi this year, only 82 has ended in convictions.
For this year, the pending cases we have of SGBV are about 1,400 at the Kilifi law courts that are active, still pending. We have about 84 acquittals, both acquittals and those that have been withdrawn. There are 84, and those that we have gotten convictions are about 82.
We try to assist every agency wherever they may be facing challenges. We have been able to do trainings, to do mobile courts, to inform them on virtual hearings such that a witness might not need to come to court to be heard. If you can go to a police station, to a prosecution office, well guided, you might also be able to give your evidence. Most of the experts are giving evidence virtually. They don't need to come to court like doctors who do post-mortem, age assessment, who fill the P3 and post-rape care form. They may not need to come to court whenever there is a hearing. And they are also able to to attend different sessions in different courts within a day or a very short time. So we are trying to save them the cost of coming to court and the cost of hearing a matter.
In Kenya, gender-based violence cuts across age, class and region. Kilifi County is an epicenter with 12.2% of women reporting sexual violence. Yet, these statistics tell not only part of the story, they represent shattered lives and stolen innocence.
90% of the cases that are reported are in regard to minors. The court is focused on hearing these cases, and the cases do not enter the silo of all the other pending criminal cases, and therefore the court is able to expedite them. Also, the actors there have more, how will I say, expertise in handling these cases, and therefore the cases move faster and are able to be heard and determined efficiently.
Mwaka, only 14, was defiled by a trusted family friend. Books became her sanctuary, though the trauma left her silent during our interview. Her mother, Sawadi Rashid, found some solace in the 20-year prison sentence for the perpetrator.
Alitoroka Mwanza baada ya kuwa anatafutwa na polisi. Kakaa baada ya wiki 3 wakashikwa. Baada ya kushikwa watu wako wakamshughulikia, wakatoa pesa akawa nje. Ikakaa miaka 2 hiyo kesi. Yaani kama ilikuwa wanaona kama hakuna kitu. Yaani kama ni Mungu tu na huyo Auntie Alice. Yaani hii shirika mimi ndio kama nilikuwa ni mama, ni baba, ni ndugu. Hilo ndio linishikilia. Singekuwa ni hili shirika sijui kwaje. Yaani sijui ningekuwaje. Maana ilikuwa mimi na huyo Auntie Alice na Eva, hawa watu wa Friends for Justice. Wao ndio walikuwa pamoja na mimi mpaka mimi mwenyewe kwa saa zingine naenda tu lakini sina nguvu. Ndio naona hiyo haki ya mtoto wangu iliyopatikana, kwa sababu hangefungwa sijui ingekuwaje. Maana kuna wakati baada ya kuwa kwa nje kwa anamuwinda huyo mtoto, anamuulizia. Sasa basi hivi ni kama venye yuko ndani, ndio nashukuru Mungu.
Recently we had a CUC, that is a court users committee, which has been going to communities to educate people around what the law provides as their rights of a victim of violation. So people are gaining a lot of education and awareness, and probably our service providers are close by to the communities, so that all these reports are able to somehow find their way to the service providers, such as the police, such as the courts, such as the health. So those are the main front runners around response.
For Kilifi County, and that is one of the reasons the CUC, we have agreed, the GBV subcommittee agreed that we just need to do advocacy. It is not about the laws. It is just about changing an entire culture and social structure.
Harmful patriarchal norms and poverty compound the crisis. In Kilifi, 46.3% of the population live below the poverty line, exposing young girls to exploitation.
A lot of children are coming from broken homes, which has actually informed the high rise of offenses. You also note that some of these cases of sexual abuse are between under 18s, which are eventually diverted. So I would say one of the contributing factor, or the biggest contributing factor, is the dysfunction of families where these children are coming from. And then there's also that children do not know that is actually an infringement of your right, on their right. So in some cases, children are actually abused or violated because somebody wants to take advantage because of the levels of poverty. So they're induced to being given something else in the name of being used as a sexual object.
The lack of survivors' shelters and insufficient child officers continue to hinder effective justice delivery.
We also provide psychosocial support for all the children in contact with the law. And when I mean children in contact with the law, I'm referring to children who come in as victims. I'm also referring to children who come in as witnesses in court. I'm also referring to children who are in need of care and protection as provided in the Children's Act. And I'm also referring to now the children who are actually in conflict with the law. They are either acting as accused in a matter, so we represent them. We also provide psychosocial support for children, for caregivers who are taking care of these vulnerable children.
The biggest challenge that we have is getting witnesses, especially where the victim has not been removed from the community and taken to the safe space. There is a tendency of and as I mentioned earlier, that most of these issues occur in a family setting, community setting. So the family will really want to resolve these issues at home to the extent that they sometimes even transfer the witness to go live somewhere else and all the other witnesses, and therefore the complainant cannot be found, the witnesses cannot be found, basically interfering with the witnesses. And the other challenge is the issue of the economic status of these victims. Our jurisdiction goes way as far as Bamba. So you realize that sometimes the police, actually 90% of the time, the victims and even the accused, if he's out on bond, must be brought to court by the police using the police vehicle, the same vehicle. If the police vehicle has broken down, they are also unable to come to court at all costs. And the vastness and remoteness also, when they go, the police sometimes are very difficult to trace them, given that many also do not have phones.
Alice Kenya's commitment to survivors goes beyond the courtroom. Through Friends for Justice, she has trained 11 paralegals in Kilifi 35 wards, equipping communities to provide legal aid, psychosocial support, and education.
Then we also have an economic empowerment program where we support caregivers of these children that have experienced violence or that have been abused. We provide seed capital to these caregivers or help provide them with skills and eventually find them jobs so they can provide for the children who are beneficiaries or their siblings.
Alice's efforts are part of the broader movement supported by the Italian Agents for Development Cooperation, UN Women, and the local NGOs like CRU. Together, they address the root causes of violence while offering survivors vital support.
As the Court Users Committee, we have been doing a lot of community engagements, and what has always been coming out, the community has been telling us that it is now time to take this conversation to the children themselves and the youth. And when we celebrated the International Day of the Girl Child, we had about 860 children together, and we were able to hear their voice, and all of them spoke with one voice that they really want to be empowered and sensitized on GBV issues because they have been entrenched as culture, and them as the girls, they were girls, feel that it is and think that it is not the norm, but no one ever talks to them about it or sensitizes them about it, and therefore they need to know what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, how do they report, what are the measures they can take, and how can they be empowered in terms of their self-esteem?
We had, I will refer to 2021, we had very low convictions, but as we go by, we learn the reasons why we are losing cases, and one of it was in the preservation of evidence, and we've been working with the investigating officers and making sure that our victims and their witnesses can safeguard that information for use in court. So the number in 2021 and part of 2022 was low. And then specifically speaking for the Kilifi courts, because we work in the 4 courts within Kilifi County, there has been an increase in the number of conviction because the judicial officers in the last 3 years have been conscious in making sure that they give the children matters a priority.
As we mark the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, Alice Kinyo's story reminds us of the power of determination and collaboration. But the fight is far from over.
My role, or our role as Friends for Justice, is to educate the other members or talk to them about how to handle children matters, both as they're accessing justice, and also provide, inform them on how to provide psychosocial support for children, especially the cases that are being sent to diversion. We're actually seeing a rise of cases in sodomy, and we've had, as Friends for Justice, we've had to change strategy. Initially, we were just addressing girls, but now we realize that we need to protect the men too. And I can tell you, as today, seated right here, we had 3 cases of sodomy today. Just today. And that's today just 1 court in this station.
Stronger partnerships, increased funding, and dismantling patriarchal norms are essential for creating a future where women and girls in Kenya can live fearlessly and thrive with dignity.
Kama bipa peteta ni mtoto wa kiume, then nitofanya nini? Lazima kwa mtoto wa nini? Ongeleshwe. Ona. Awe considered katika haya mazungumzo. Ili pia naye aweze kujua for sure GBV ni mbaya. Kama ni stories za rape cases, si girl child wanarepiana, boy child anashika nini? Girl child anamrape. Stories za femicide, tumeona girl child ameuawa. Na ukiangalia ni nani mhusika? It's the boy child. So kama boys, tafadhalini, ili tuishi katika community ambayo iko vizuri, ni lazima tupende hao ma girl child na tuwa protect.
In 2024 alone, Alice represented 77 survivors, ensuring their voices were heard and justice pursued.
I feel like in the next 2 years, we are going to see a drop because we are investing now knowledge more in the children who will eventually, who are the potential victims. So I believe we will achieve something, and the Court Users Committee has also taken a big role in supporting, supporting the club. We go to schools, speak together as the Court Users Committee and as the Little Friends for Justice Club. So we will see a number rising because now we feel like we have informed the community, but we have always not involved the children directly in terms of doing a prevention of abuse of children.
The SGBV bill is in force. The SGBV bill is in force. It was created to give strength to local contextualized issues around GBV.
I want to see an empowered class of children. So assuming that a child with 5 will be 15 years, I want to meet a 15-year-old who understand not just their rights, but also understand the need to protect themselves from violence. And because we also do positive parenting, I would want to see fewer dysfunctional families. I would want to see more functional families, families that understand the needs of child protection, families that understand the need of sending children to school, families that understand the need to provide for their own families as opposed to waiting for handouts.
Justice is not about punishing perpetrators. It is about restoring the dignity of survivors and empowering them to rebuild their lives. Together, we can break the silence, shatter barriers, and restore hope. For Culture Quest, I'm Levis Msumba.